Aloha Ukulele Club of Hawaii. I just wanted to do a quick reminder before the lesson with Neal Chin on Hawaiian Vamps about our September 21st fundraiser. Make sure if you are coming in person, come early and bring your music stand. We will not have tables. And of course, join us online. It's going to be a ton of fun, lots of amazing performances. And of course, don't forget your ukulele because there will be jamming in between. So definitely have your music and the packet that goes with this lesson ready. And we look forward to seeing all of you September 21st.
Aloha ukulele friends, this is Neal Chin here, and welcome back to another lesson here at 4 Strings at a Time. We're really excited for our upcoming fundraiser on September 21st, and really hope that you folks can join us, either in person at the Windward Mall, or of course, right here on this YouTube page. Now, for our lesson for this week, what I figured we would do is we do a little bit of a fill for the Hawaiian Vamp. You know, as many of us know, the Hawaiian Vamp, which we're going to be playing in the key of C today, is often played as D7, G7, and C. And is one of those big building blocks, right, for a lot of Hawaiian songs. And, you know, oftentimes we play this vamp, you know, in between verses and at the beginning and at the end of a tune. And since it's played so often, I think it's kind of fun to kind of throw in these little phrases, these little licks, you know, so to say, to kind of really enhance and just kind of decorate, so to say, a little bit of that space. Yeah, so of course use your taste and be cautious of the people around you and what they like to listen to as well. But of course, you know, I think this can be a really fun thing for us to practice, especially here at Club. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah. Now, for this little fill, first I'm going to play it for you folks, and then we'll take a little bit of a closer look on the camera here so you can get a close-up of the fretboard, and then we'll actually take a look at some tablature too. Yeah, I know we practice reading tablature, so you can go take a look and just kind of look at some specifics just to make sure that it really kind of gets cemented, so to say, or imprinted on our brains. Okay, so if I'm playing the phrase itself, let me play it at tempo. Okay, so if it goes like this. So I'm sure a bunch of us have heard this in some context. This is a little a phrase of the vamp that I learned from my teacher. Now, let's break it up. Okay? As always, you know, when we practice phrases and things of that sort, it's always good to just start to chunk it up. Yeah, if you're reading somebody the numbers on a credit card, you're not going to give them the whole, you know, the whole thing at once. It's good to go in little 4-digit blocks, right? And kind of the same thing here. What we're going to do is we're going to cut the phrase in half, okay, and do the first half. And practice that, and then move on to the second. It just makes it a little bit easier for us to process. Okay, and you got to give yourself the grace and time to be able to process things. All right? So, first, the first half, and I tell you what, let's go ahead and take a closer look already. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, any finger's going to work. Okay, and you know, use what's comfortable for you. Okay, the only one thing, okay, that I want you to try to generally avoid is try to avoid using just one finger. Okay. Oftentimes when we use just one finger like this, right, we may take a little bit of extra time, and hey, don't get me wrong, it's definitely doable, right? And if that's what you want to do, by all means, right? If that's what you got to do, by all means, okay? But if you have other digits to work with, right, that are comfortable for you to work with, or maybe you're like, I want to try to take out my ring finger and see, how to use that one, I highly recommend that you kind of switch up your hands, or excuse me, switch up your fingers, right? I always like to say, spread the love, right? Let everybody do a little bit of work, yeah? Okay. So now, the first half, okay, it's going to start off on the 3rd fret and on the 2nd string, okay? And actually, as a little bite-sized piece, I think it's kind of nice to start off by picking that 2nd string, the 1st string, and then going back. So just like this. Okay? One more time. I'm going ba-da-da. 2nd string, 1st string, and then 2nd string. Okay. From there, I take my index finger back to the 2nd fret, and I'm going to pick that note. This is an F sharp note, okay? And this is actually going to be our downbeat. where our phrase that we're playing is going to really match up with our D7 chord. And we'll say nudge, nudge, wink, wink, right? If you take a look, D7 also is playing that same note. Might be something there to investigate, but we'll save it for another time. Okay, so anyway, we're going to land on that note. So just by adding in that one note, you have back. Okay. From there, you're going to pick your open A string, I should say, excuse me, like this. And then we're going to go over to C. So collectively, we have now, ba-da-da. We move back, ba-da. Pick that open A. Then to grab C. Okay. Now all just in a nice little string here. We'll go nice and slow. And please, yeah, feel free to pause the video, rewind, right? And even slow it down, yeah? Because what we're first going to do is just kind of get the execution of just where to put our hands, yeah? And then we'll work a little bit more on timing, okay? So, and the last piece for our last chunk, our first bite of this phrase here is we're going to go all the way up to fret 7, yeah? More often than not, a lot of our ukuleles have these fret markers or these dots, so this is a great time to use them. You can often look above 2 here, right, to just kind of quickly track. It's kind of fun little target practice. That's how I like to think about it when playing a phrase like this, because that's a good stopping point. Again, a good first chunk. Okay, a little bit slower. Okay. All right. So that's the first chunk here. Okay. And again, like big stretch over here. So take your time. Okay. Feel free again to pause the video, rewind, and give yourself again some time to process. But if you are comfortable, let's move on to number 2. The second chunk over here, our hand's going to shift down, and we're actually going to grab the note F on the first fret. Okay. And I really like this one too. Just fingering wise, it kind of feels nice and comfortable. Okay. Because what we're going to do is we're going to kind of walk back and forth between our index and another finger. So in this case, index on the first fret for F. We're going to grab G, which is going to be on the next finger. I'm using my middle finger here, but up to you. Okay, but over on the 3rd fret. And it's nice here because you can see the next note we're going to play is actually B. Okay. And look at my hand kind of shift here. It's a nice little elegant move. Again, same thing. Take your time, right? Just to find out where we're putting our fingers. Because just to wrap us up, we only need 2 more notes, friends. Okay? So we're going to go ba, ba, da. And here, you're going to see my pinkies already getting excited because it's going to go all the way up to D on the 5th fret. And of course, just to land us home, we are in the key of C. So our last note's going to be C. So this second chunk that we have over here, just sequence-wise, okay, it's going to sound first like this. Just a nice little cute phrase too, okay? Now if I slow it down a little bit more. Yeah, I guess my fingers can't make up their mind, yeah? Do what's comfortable for your hands, folks. All right, so we put those 2 chunks together. Okay, as a recap, chunk 1. Okay, and then chunk 2. I think when you're practicing, practice 1 at a time, and maybe even at club. See if you can't just get the first half in. All right, or if it takes some time to switch mindsets, to picking, right? Then maybe, yeah, do the second half. Okay. Now, just for fun, okay, I'm gonna count it out and play it at rhythm, and then we're gonna look at the tab here. Okay, so if it's gonna go like this at a steady pace, if we were counting, we go like this: 1, 2, 3. Pretty straight right there. Okay, and of course with this type of sound I think it's kind of nice to swing it. Playing that. And so if we swing it a little bit, it feels like this. The stresses in the rhythm alternate back and forth. Yeah. Have that nice gallop feel. So, all right. There's our basic picking, or kind of running through the sequencing, so to say, of where to put our hands. Okay, so let's just take a real quick look now at a little bit closer at some tablature. Okay, so pardon me 1 second. Boop. Now, if we take a look over here, okay, just what we're looking at, okay, up top, right, we have our chords. This is exactly what we were playing, and we might repeat that, so maybe we should even have a little bit of a repeat thing here, okay? But we play D7, 1, 2, G7, 3, 4, and C, 1, 2, 3, 4, making it that every time that we pass over the Hawaiian Vamp, we're playing 2 measures or 2 bars, okay? So that's going to be just the chords up here. This is what we're going to fill in today. This is going to be the tab part, okay? And what I figured I just put underneath here, just as a little guidance, is the rhythm, okay? I just have 8th notes written out for us. The downbeats and the big numbers, okay? And of course, the upbeats for the ands. So even if I start from here, I would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? That's how we count or subdivide music for us to be able to really get our rhythms accurate, especially for something like this when we play the Hawaiian Vamp. Okay, if you're not, again, familiar with tablature too, go ahead and check out Sarah's video on reading tablature. Yeah, it's a really great device to learn, you know, specific fingerings and like exactly how to navigate the fretboard. Yeah, instead of just purely on a musical sense, it kind of translates to our ukulele playing specifically. Okay, now let's take a look. Our first chunk started off, we even started with those first 3 notes, da da da, which was here, here, and here. If we were playing those da da da, 3 little notes there, those are actually going to be 8th notes, because when we have this little fill here, there's a little bit of a pickup. Okay, before the downbeat actually starts, and you might have noticed it when I was counting earlier. I went 1, 2, 3, and then quickly switched because I had to make sure that I was on that upbeat. Okay, and that's going to really help kind of lock you into time, because this phrase here is basically a string of 8th notes as we go through the rest of it. Okay, so I'll go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 4, and 4, and, okay. We continue the chunk. This is what I was mentioning earlier. There's that downbeat. That's that F sharp note on the 2nd fret, okay? Now, just moving forward, open A, we have the open string, the 3, oops, there we go. Very nice. Okay. Oops. Actually, not so nice. Let's do that one more time. There we go. I had to double check that. Okay. This would be the first chunk that we just did. Yeah. So da 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 da. Right, and we can count it as and 4 and 1 and 2 and of course we can be a little bit flexible with the rhythm, but just for now we're going to be pretty rigid, right? Because the flexibility will come to us as we continue to play. Okay, so first chunk, I tell you what, go make a little dotted line. Da, 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 da. Okay, so now as we go over to the 2nd chunk, it starts off here. So 1st fret, da, ba, 2nd, ba, ba, goes all the way up to 5. Oop, 5s are tricky to make. There we go. And hey, look at that. Right on beat 1. As it perfectly lines up with our C chord. We play that C note. Okay? So, that, and actually we just kind of, just let that, he can let that ring out if you want, or even just play in that and just stop in there is plenty good. So, let's count it out in rhythm now. Okay? And see if we can play this one time. So we go, if I count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. Okay? So we'll do it again. We go nice and slow, okay? And again, the beauty of working with these YouTube videos too is that you can actually directly slow them down. So please go ahead and slow them down. Tempo del lerno, as they say, to make it fit your hand, okay? Take your time, okay? But just so we're making the tempo right, or excuse me, the rhythm right, we'll go like this. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. Now, last but not least, just as we're looking here, oftentimes we play that vamp a couple times, yeah, maybe 2 times, yeah, maybe sometimes even 4, maybe a little bit more for hanging out or vamping in all senses of the term, right? So maybe we're going to play it again, okay? Or maybe we're going to repeat, right? As we repeat again, remember, we have this pickup here, okay? So if we're repeating it, our pickup is actually going to kind of happen right here. So if we're going to repeat it, we would go da 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 ba 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 2, 3 da da da, and it would repeat before jumping back, oops, to that spot and restarting again. Okay, so if that makes sense for you folks, take some time to practice it. Okay, and we'll just go through it just a couple last times together. Do it at club. All right, here, let me switch it up. There we go. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 2, 3. Two, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, nice job, nice job. All right, it's a super fun riff to play, fun lick to play. You got some, again, you're spanning the fretboard, so it can be fun to kind of stretch out that hand there. And again, it's one of those things to definitely take your time doing. One thing that just kind of popped in my head that I will mention as a last thought, okay, is that, if you're not used to counting the beat, so to say, and playing like this at the same time, it can be a little jarring doing both of them at once, because of course, please always remember, my ukulele friends, that we can only do one thing at a time. So as you're trying to process those things back and forth, and your brain is ping-ponging back and forth, one thing that can help us with this is to maybe even let go of the time and just try to count it out. Just kind of assigning, so in the same way that we kind of did it earlier today of just sequencing, but thinking about it rhythmically. So might go like, and, 4, and, right? Just as we were looking in the beginning right here. And, 4, and really just trying to line up those sounds with that beat, yeah? So even if it's nice and slow, and, 4, and, 1, and, 2, and, 3, and, 4, and, 1, 2, 3. Just like that. All right, there's your little fill for the Hawaiian Vamp. I hope you enjoyed that and learned something new today, okay? Always, of course, I hope that it stretches you a little bit and stretches out your hands, both literally and mentally, into doing something new. And of course, I always want to end in the cadence of, please have fun with the material, yeah? And it is the process that is enjoy the journey, I should say. So enjoy learning how to play it. Take your time, slow down the video, and soak in those notes, all right? And when we see you at club, we'll be walking around, and I hope to see you playing the Hawaiian Vamp, that little fill, yeah? Enhances the whole picture. All right, friends, we'll see you on September 21st, and aloha.